Good day, viewers. Walter here. I was going to do a remake of my boy entrepreneur story from about 10 years ago, but instead I think I'll just retell the story here on today's vlog, or shortly after today's vlog. I'm going to combine the vlog and the I was a boy entrepreneur story. I'll throw in a little bird footage or something to watch while I'm telling my story. Good day, viewers. I smell a little smoke in the air. Somebody's burning trash or limbs or something. The temperature is 68 degrees in Griffin, Georgia on Walter's front porch. Probably 70 on the computer. Going to get out here and feed my birdies today. I made several bird videos here lately. Not getting the greatest viewers in the world on my bird videos. I don't know if YouTube just ain't promoting them or what. But I still enjoy watching my birds and videoing them. I've noticed some of the birds are missing this year. Or maybe they're just late getting here. I haven't seen any doves. Haven't seen any bluebirds yet, but maybe they'll show up in the spring. I got buku of sparrows, chipping chickadees, chipping sparrows, chickadees, and tufted titmice. But we're going to take a moment and give them some food. Darn armadillo's been out here digging up my yard again. Most of that what I'm throwing on the ground is corn. I need the doves here. They would eat that corn. I have not seen my doves. And I haven't seen any Eurasian collared doves either. What else is missing? Blue jays, I haven't seen them lately. Oh, I know what's missing, the mockingbirds. Some of my viewers have been talking about a bird flu going around. I hope it hadn't affected the birds around here. I'm gonna do a little bit of footage. Maybe we'll pick up a different type of bird today. Oh, I did see a goldfinch. I forgot that. I need to get out here and paint my bird feeder and spruce it up a little bit. I need to get my new bird feeder installed too. I've got a new bird feeder I got for Christmas. It has a camera in it. Maybe we can put it together and combine it with this feeder. I just might figure out how to combine them. That would be a new wrinkle. Let's come up with a different mounting bracket. I haven't got my glasses, but I think we can see the suet feeder in there too. Yeah, if I can see I can see it all right. Something's not working right. We'll just start over. Maybe my battery's dead. Something's not right. I'm not getting a red light. Let's go change the battery. It's hell to get old. Don't do it, folks. My knees have been bothering me all day. Couldn't be nothing to do with the fact that they're wore out. Couldn't be because of been sitting around doing nothing. And one of my viewers, Missouri old timer, one of those viewers, talking about jobs he had as a child on his blog last night. He was pointing out how people wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouth, had to get out and work if they wanted to make some money, especially if your family was poor, and mine were. I did a lot of things to make money. We lived at Central Florida. We lived in Brevard County, Florida. And when I lived there, I was quite the entrepreneur. Some of the things I did was, well, just like the Missouri old timer, we went out and collected Coke bottles and collected deposits on them. And people were too lazy to keep a Coke bottle. They'd throw it out the car window just like they do aluminum cans nowadays. And each one was worth 2 cents. So you could 5 Coke bottles to get you a dime. You could go buy a couple of candy bars with a dime. You wouldn't even buy 1 candy bar with a dime now. Sit down on the steps here, Walter, and watch the birds. Gotta get out here and clean up my garden and get it ready for planting. Cut the weeds down. Anyway, I was talking about ideas for work. I decided one day I wanted to, I think I've told this story a half a dozen times, and I'm gonna tell it again. I needed some money, and I noticed these older boys, I was about 12 maybe, were delivering newspapers, and the newspaper guy would come down on Orange Street, and half a dozen paper guys would come and pick up their newspapers in a big bundle. And I told the man that was delivering the papers to him, I need one of them jobs. I like to deliver newspapers. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do for you, boy. I'll give you 10 papers. You go sell them. You sell all of them, come back tomorrow, and I'll give you 10 more to sell. Oh, that's pretty cool. I could do that. I went down on the downtown Oak Alley and stood out there for about 5 or 10 minutes and extra, read all about it. And whatever the headline was, I wrote on, called it out to the people. Didn't take me long. People bought my little newspaper. So the next day, when he was delivering, it was the Melbourne Times newspaper. And I'm here for 10 more papers. He said, oh, I'll give you 50 of them this time, boy. Gave me a bag to tote them in. A thing with a strap you put over your shoulder, a newspaper bag. And for about a week, I delivered these papers to town and sold them all around. Got to knocking on some doors and selling them. It didn't take me long. Had them newspapers sold. And he said, I got a route coming open, I'll let you have it. And it was the route in my neighborhood. It consisted of Orange Street, Jasmine Street, Azalea Court, some up on US 1. There's a shopping plaza, just going by memory, down towards what was the A&P then. There was a Firestone store, several different stores in that little plaza. I sold newspapers to all of them. And I collected 35 cents a week from them people. I believe it was 35. Sunday paper cost a dime. So once a week on Fridays, I'd go around and collect for the newspapers. People would give me their money. I got into coin collecting. I kept all my coins and went through them, and I had some really nice coins. A couple of people on my route knew that I was collecting coins and would save pennies and old pennies for me and stuff like that. I collected nickels and pennies. I've already shared the story of how I had quite a collection of coins, and when I went off to the Navy, my brothers saw fit to spend them for me. Took them out of my drawer and spent them. I didn't miss them for a couple of months. Well, besides selling newspapers, which I did for a long time, I did some interesting things with the newspaper route. I bought my own bicycle. I'm going to put a link in the description if I can think of it. If I can find it, I got to find it. But I told this story about being an entrepreneur, and I'll see if I can find a link and add it to this story. But I bought my own bicycle from the Western Auto Store. Bought twin baskets to put on the back to carry my newspapers in. If I decided I want something, I'd go buy it. Went into Firestone, and man said, I took him money every day to pay for my bicycle, and he said, get on your bicycle and go, boy, and bring me back my money every week. Didn't take me long, I had it paid for. I went out and washed cars. After a hurricane, all the limbs would blow down people's yards. You can make a killing after a hurricane going around picking up the yard for the old people that weren't able to get out and do it. I didn't charge much, $3 or $4 or $5, whatever, to pick up their yard. I'd take my dad's lawnmower and run it till it was flat, wore out, cutting grass for people. I had a regular route with cutting half a dozen people's grass. So I stayed well off with money. Tell you just a little brief story. My brothers told on me for playing the pinball machine, and I got yelled at for wasting my money on pinball games at the hotel down there, O'Galley Hotel. But I'd spend a quarter, 35 cents every day on my pinball machines. I got yelled at for that, but I pretty much had my own savings account at the bank and took care of my own finances. Of course, my dad gave me money when I needed it, I guess, but it wasn't a lot. Anyway, what else did I do? I washed cars. If somebody needed an errand done, I was more than happy to oblige them. But boys nowadays, like the Missouri old-timer was pointing out a while ago, you won't see many of them out here looking for a job. Everything is given to them on a silver platter. When I was a kid, the big thing to buy would be some comic books. I wish I'd have been smart enough to save some of them Superman comic books. If I think hard enough, I'll think of some other things I used to make money at. But how many of my viewers had a paper route or did odd jobs for money? Rich kids might have got an allowance from my parents. If I wanted any money, I had to go out and earn it. I don't think my father could afford to give me an allowance. I feel for all those people who died in a plane crash last night, who lost loved ones last night. And I hope they can get to the bottom of what caused it so it doesn't happen again. There's really bad news about what happened. I don't think the pilots really did anything wrong, but then again, what do I know? I think it was an air traffic controller error. Some kind of miscommunication. I saw something on YouTube about 2 different frequencies they were talking on. Military frequency and a civilian frequency. They need to work that out. And I might be crazy, but it looks to me like that silver maple tree out there is sprouting buds. Yeah, it's getting ready to sprout. Yes, you're about to hear another one of my stories. Now that I'm an old man, I often look back to my younger years in a different light. Things that in those days didn't seem like much, I now realize the importance of how much those things made to me to make me a better man for having done them. So I will share this story with you in hopes some will enjoy hearing it, and perhaps remind you of some things you may have done that most likely made you a better person in your life. Besides, I just feel like telling the story. I now realize that as a boy I was quite the entrepreneur. The dictionary definition is someone who organizes a business venture and assumes the risk for it. But I think it just means when you want something, you figure out a way to get it by honest work and a bit of ingenuity. In other words, I was sometime clever, original, and a little bit inventive about getting what I wanted. The setting for my story today is Ocala, Florida. Sometime around 1960. I think I was around 12 years old. One of my viewers asked me the other day about the Western Auto store that was there at the time, and that prodded me into sharing this story. I have no idea if the store is still there or not, but at that time it was on Cypress Avenue and approximately 6 blocks away from where I lived. I did indeed have quite a sense of business and was constantly on the lookout to make money. Too bad I never developed the common sense to save more of it. A few examples come to mind. I saved money long enough to buy a throw net and then used it to catch mullet, sell them to the local bait and tackle shop that was at that time right where the Ocala Causeway started. I doubt it even exists anymore. I wore out my dad's lawnmower cutting grass for people. When a hurricane came along occasionally, I would get out after the storm and hit the old people's houses to see if they wanted the excess debris and tree limbs and trash picked up that was left in its wake. I washed people's cars, provided they would meet my price. Around Christmas, I would climb a tree, collect some mistletoe, sell it by the handful. There were other endeavors I won't mention, but I will mention at least one more. One day I realized that there was money to be made delivering newspapers. The local newspaper was called the Melbourne Times. I finally located the guy in charge of the routes. Cornered him one day when he came around to drop off the newspapers in big bundles for area paper carriers to pick up and deliver. "Hey, mister, I want to be a paper boy and deliver newspapers." He looked at me kind of funny, as if in deep thought. I'm sure he was thinking, this little squirt won't be able to handle it. He replied, "This area already has a paper boy, but I have an idea. I will give you 20 newspapers to sell. For every 5-cent paper you sell, 2 cents of it will be yours to keep. Tomorrow when I return here, you owe me 60 cents. If you don't sell them, you still owe me 60 cents. If you sell them all, you will have 40 cents left over to keep for yourself." I didn't have to think long, as I was ready to tackle this financial liability. Little cash register bells were ringing in my head. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I could make money. Let's see, 5 days a week times 40 cents, that'd be $2 a week. He handed me 20 newspapers and threw in a special carry sack made of canvas with a shoulder strap to carry them in. I walked away feeling quite proud of myself. And he shouted, "Good luck, kid." But I'm sure he was thinking, that kid won't make it. I had very little luck selling them at first, stopping at various businesses and other places that didn't do very good. I finally wound up downtown Ocala. I hassled almost everyone who passed me to buy a paper. I even stood on the corner yelling, "Extra, extra, read all about it," and that worked pretty good. Soon I had them all sold. I did that for a couple weeks or so when the newspaper man said, "A route in this area has opened up. Do you want it?" So I became a full-time newspaper boy. It didn't take me long to learn the existing customers on my route, and I faithfully brought their papers every Monday through Friday afternoon, got up early every Sunday morning to deliver that edition well before time for church. I had to make it to church because I was an acolyte at St. John's Episcopal Church there. I'm sure that place is still there. One of my customers was the Western Auto store. Every day I would admire this raving beauty. It was red and shiny and glistened in the store window. It was a Western Flyer bicycle. Had all the trimmings, including chrome accessories. I bet the only place you can find one of them bikes now is in a museum somewhere. One day I saw this advertisement to put things on layaway and pay for them on time. Once you get them paid for, you could take them away. I walked into Western Auto one afternoon and boldly told the man, "Hey, mister, I'm here to buy that bicycle, on layaway, of course." He was a bit taken back to have a customer of my caliber for sure. I dug in my pocket and handed him what I had. I think it was $6 or $8. Now it's mine as soon as I get it paid, as soon as I pay the rest of it, right? Yep, it sure is, kid. A couple of weeks rolled by and I came by faithfully to pay a few dollars. I don't recall how much the bike cost, but it had to be around $40 or $50. And daily as I passed delivering my newspapers, I would stop and admire the bike. I suppose they were tired of seeing me hanging out there every day, because one day the man said, "Hey boy, get on your bicycle and go. And just bring me your money every week." Well, by then I had a lot of papers to deliver every day and was beginning to walk with a permanent crook in my shoulder from toting that big heavy bag of papers, so I was glad to get the bicycle. But I didn't leave Western Auto that day until I conned the man into installing a set of shiny twin baskets that mounted on the back, straddling the rear wheels. After that, delivering my papers got a lot easier. I would roll them up, put a rubber band around them so I could throw them to the houses when I zoomed by on my Western Flyer bicycle. I collected money for the papers from my customers once a week, 35 cents, because the Sunday issue cost a dime. I often took my dog in one basket and the papers in the other. I recall how I would put the kickstand down to balance the bike and tell Boots, was her name, Boots, "You sit there until I get back from collecting this person's money now." She got to where she expected to go with me every day and would bark if anyone got near my bike and my unguarded newspapers. To conclude my story, I would just say to today's young people, if you take anything at all away from my story, I'm delighted. Don't miss any opportunity to become an entrepreneur. You will be a better person for having done so. Thanks for listening, my friends. Thank you for listening, my friends. Your comments are most welcome here.